Now, talking about borderless stickers, we can obviously see Paris has not been on a very strong trajectory, but that's not what I want to focus in on. I want to focus in on the Stockholm and the Antwerp numbers because I think that's where the opportunity is right now. Now, looking at this for Stockholm, we can see that obviously a lot of stickers are still being utilized, but I think they're just a little bit too expensive. Instead, I wanted to focus in on Antwerp because I think it's a perfect middle ground, and it's actually one of the investments we're going to be making later in the video because I think the opportunity is in this area right now rather than the other two. SkinSwap is today's sponsor, and they're also sponsoring you with a free bonus for signing up with the first link in the description. They're the premier place for CSGO and Rust skins with a massive trading site and a top-of-the-line marketplace, offering you the most competitive rates out there and a massive 40% bonus when you're using that link in the description. Combine that with their top-of-the-line selling feature with many payout options and their trading feature legitimately taking you just about a minute, and there's no reason not to sign up with that first link in the description. Now, talking about borderless sticker capsules, first up with Paris. Now, we're starting to see a very clear divide. The ones with autographs inside of them are starting to do significantly better or just less worse than the ones with the regular team logos inside of them. That's because of one specific thing. That's the fact that none of these capsules are actually succeeding, but rather we're seeing less drops for the autograph because they're less liquid. There's less of them out there. You're not buying as many team autograph capsules as you are team logo capsules, and therefore I think we just need to take a step back from this area, let it resolve itself, but in the current moment, the investment opportunity in this area is not too strong. However, when we're talking about Stockholm and Antwerp, I still think there's a great opportunity in this. We talk about these as the safe investments, and they've clearly shown that over the past 6 months or a year-long graph. Now, when we're talking about Stockholm specifically, I love Stockholm, but it's a little bit too expensive for what this series is. We've got $50, we got to figure out the best investment. Therefore, Stockholm is off the table just due to price, but if we're talking about the liquidity of these items, it's not too great. These items are very stable, and they're exactly what you'd want to look for. Now, talking about Antwerp specifically, I think this is the perfect middle ground. We actually aren't going to be picking up any specific capsules today, just because we already have a decent amount, but focusing in on these capsules, they've got everything we look for. They've got some stickers inside of them that don't have other options for people to unbox them in a borderless format, which is exactly what we want to look for in these capsules, and therefore I think Antwerp capsules are a great investment if you don't have some already, but once again, we're not picking any of them up just because we need to stay diversified. Now, obviously diversification is important, but there's a couple things you still should be avoiding at this time. First of all, souvenir packages are just a big no-no for me in the current moment. Basically, the only reason a souvenir package will ever become expensive is due to a very low supply, because the demand on these things is pretty much non-existent from the time they get removed from the shop. And when we look at all of the current souvenir packages out there, none of them are going to increase in supply unless we see a map removed, which is obviously a completely different dynamic. We can look at Dust 2 and see how even then they didn't see too much growth. I think it's a bad investment for most of your items. I will also say I don't think it's a very smart move for you to buy a lot of Paris autographs right now, or even the majority of Paris stickers, unless they're the ones that are really in demand. We're talking about Paris capsules going down. The sticker prices are going to follow, and they have already started to follow a little bit. I think it's a better utilization of your money to put it somewhere else, but that's just my personal opinion. Now, something we don't focus in on too often is going to be operation items. Now, this could be anything that comes from the operation shop, and I think there's a lot of great investments that come from this area, but for the terms of this series, it's a little bit tough. That's because obviously a lot of these items are quite expensive in the current moment, and therefore it's kind of hard to say if these are a great investment in the current state. Now, I think a lot of them are going to increase over the next year or so, just because a lot of them do have demand, and when we're talking about supply, almost all of them are guaranteed to have the same or lesser supply in the near future. With that being said, a lot of these items are just a little bit outside of our current price range, but I think they're a great investment. We're looking for something that's safe, but also something that's not too popular out there in the current market. Now, one event I have personally avoided talking about for the near future is the Chinese New Year, and specifically the next year of the Chinese New Year, because it's the year of the dragon, and a lot of people are pointing to the Tai Lu specific stickers and saying that they're going to absolutely skyrocket because it's the year of the dragon. I personally have a lot of concerns about this. Specifically, 9 months ago, I was reached out to on Twitter by someone trying to pump the Tai Lu stickers already. This was 9 months ago. This was literally just a couple weeks after the previous Chinese New Year. I don't know necessarily what's going to happen with the Tai Lu stickers, but I'm just thinking if someone was working this far ahead to go ahead and pump them, and they have some in their inventory, how far is this going to go? How much of the demand is actually going to be natural versus how much of it is going to be artificial? And therefore, it's kind of concerning to me to go ahead and make an investment decision just based off the pure idea that these are going to pump during that time. It's obviously up to you, but I would definitely be a little bit more cautious in this area than I would normally be. Now, during the Stockholm Major and some of the other previous majors, people have had the opportunity to buy capsules for extremely cheap. That's because of currency conversion errors, and Valve has gone to their fullest extent to try and eliminate this, and finally we have seen 2 of these major currencies actually be removed, and they've been replaced with more general currencies. This is extremely important, and it's finally actually happened. Otherwise, the autumn sale has has come to a close, so it'll be very interesting to see if we see our trends repeat in this area or if we're going to see new trends develop. And then after that, we got the winter sale, which is coming up rather quickly. Now, the winter sale is one that, at least in previous years, has not seen too much actual impact on the overall market, just because people prepare for it and because the market during this time is generally getting a little bit more pumped up rather than reduced. But it's going to be interesting to see what exactly happens in this area. Talking about cases, we're going to keep it rather short. Looking at the unboxing numbers, we can see that a lot of people are starting to move more towards those active duty cases, which is a significant sign of a lack of content in this area. We can look at a lot of the rare cases and they've really just stagnated over the past 5 days, which is good considering a lot of them were on that downtrend, but we really should be seeing some more content. When we see some more content, a lot of these are going to pick up. Now, with that being said, pretty much all across the board, we're seeing either 6-month lows or really close to 6-month lows, which is rather interesting considering obviously we know the supply is only decreasing for these rare cases, and when we're focusing in on these active duty cases, the supply being generated isn't that large just because the amount of people playing isn't that large. Now, the first investment I'm going to be making is into the 9Z sticker from Antwerp in the glitter format for a couple different reasons. First up, if we want to look at the data, we can see that by a clear margin, the 9Z sticker is the most applied glitter out of all of the contenders capsule, which is very important considering this was the capsule I was looking at to grab a specific sticker from. Otherwise, we can also see that there's a very consistent rate of people utilizing this sticker, over 5,000 in just a month's span. But most importantly, we couldn't afford a holo. We couldn't afford to go in a better sticker. I wanted to go ahead and get a holo from Antwerp, but it was just outside of our price range. And when we're talking about these stickers inside of this one specifically, I think the 9Z overall has the most optimal look in the near future and in the long term as well. Second up on our list is actually going to be the snakebite case. Now, this is for a couple different reasons as well. First up, obviously, I'm not a big fan of the active duty cases, but it's getting hard to deny that the snakebite case is getting extremely cheap. And I do still think there's obviously the possibility it could get removed. And honestly, even if it doesn't get removed, I think the price point it's at right now is very unlikely to drop down more than it has. But definitely keep in mind, this is a very risky investment, and I'm only doing so because of the super cheap price point it currently has. Third up on our list is going to go to the revolver case. I love the revolver case, and when we're talking about all of the rare cases that are a little bit more expensive, I think the revolver is currently the standout just because of how low the supply on this thing currently is. We can see the unboxing numbers on this thing goes absolutely crazy all the time, and when we talked about it previously, it was the first one to recover from a dip down in the past. Therefore, I think the revolver case is definitely one that you should at least consider just because of the pure basis of the amount of demand that is behind it, and the low supply creates a perfect opportunity in my personal opinion. And then unfortunately for our last investment, we had to go with the CS20 case. Now, I absolutely despise this case, but the truth does not lie. It's pretty much average in all sense of the word. It's got an okay unboxing number, it's got an okay supply, and it's got an okay ROI. And right now the price point on it is a little bit below average. Therefore, I thought it was an okay pickup, but I'm not a fan of it, and I don't think that necessarily it would be my top choice ever. That's all I got. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of the day.